As I walked through the wilderness of this world, I came upon a place where there was a den. There, I lay down to sleep, and as I slept, I dreamed a dream. I saw a man clothed in rags, his face turned away from his home, a book in his hand, and a great burden on his back. I looked and saw him open the book and read, and as he read, he wept and trembled. Unable to contain his grief, he broke out in a lamentable cry, saying, "What shall I do? In this plight, he went home and tried to conceal his grief, not wanting his wife and children to see his distress. But he could not be silent. Finally, he poured out his heart to them and said, "Oh, my dear wife and beloved children, I'm in great trouble because of a heavy load pressing down on me. I am told that this city in which we live will be burned by fire from heaven. If we are caught in that disaster, we shall perish unless we first find some way to escape." His wife and children were amazed and frightened, not that they believed him, but because they thought he was losing his mind. Since it was toward evening, they urged him to go to bed, hoping that a good night's sleep might settle his mind. The night was as troublesome as the day. He was so restless he couldn't sleep, but spent the whole night in sighs and tears. In the morning, when his wife and children came in to ask how he felt, he answered, "Worse and worse." Then he repeated his fears of the previous day, but they refused to listen to him. They ridiculed him and rebuked him. Sometimes they ignored him completely. Having endured this cruel treatment for some time, he went back to his room. Lamenting his own misery and grieving at his family's behavior, he prayed God to have compassion on them. For several days, he walked in the fields, sometimes reading his book, sometimes praying, but always greatly in distress. As he read, he cried aloud, "What must I do to be saved?" He looked this way and that way, that as if he wanted to run, yet he stood still because he could not decide which way to go. I saw a man named Evangelist come to him and ask, "Why do you cry?" He answered, "Sir, I read in this book that I must die, and after death come judgment. I do not want to die. I dare not face the judgment. Since life is so full of trouble, why are you not willing to die?" asked Evangelist. "Because I fear that this burden which is on my back will sink me lower than the grave and I shall fall into hell." "If you are in such trouble, why do you stay here?" asked Evangelist. "Because I know not where to go." Then Evangelist gave him a parchment scroll on which were the words, "Flee from the wrath to come." When he saw the words, he turned to Evangelist and asked, "Where shall I flee?" Evangelist stretched out his hand and pointed beyond the plain, saying, "Do you see that narrow gate?" "No," he replied. "Do you see that shining light?" "I do seem to see a light," he answered. Then said Evangelist, Fix your eyes on that light. Go straight toward it and you will find the gate. When you knock on the gate, you will be told what to do next. In my dream, I saw that the man, obedient to Evangelist's words, began to run.